The Steam Machine is finally taking PC gaming to the living room.
And it's gonna be awesome. I'm Christopher Carpenter.
And I am Noah Martin, and we are here with Game and Train, and today we're talking about Valve, because it's getting pretty close to Christmas, and you know, Christmas and Valve, they're just two things that go together.
You can't talk about Christmas without Valve. I mean, the Team Fortress Christmas hats demand it.
There's a connection there, and you just can't sever it. They go together. So, it's no surprise that we are huge fans of Valve. And Valve is making a really bold move in bringing PC gaming to the living room through the Steam box.
But let's not talk about that immediately. Let's go back a few months and talk about their three big announcements. Let's start off with the Steam OS.
The Steam OS is going to be really cool in that it's finally going to be an operating system just for gamers. There's been so many problems with operating systems not being compatible with certain games, and it's really become a large issue for a lot of gamers.
Yeah, Windows or Apple OS, they're always having these background processes, and the Steam OS is dedicated to gaming. It will make your games run more smoothly. It will make them look nice. Well, that's probably not right, but it will make them run smoothly.
It's the whole thing is just going to be centered around gaming. No nonsense, no work, don't worry about that stuff. This is for gaming. And I actually have a lot of friends who are big PC gamers, and they're really, really struggling with the current OS systems. And they're struggling to have their games running, and I actually have one friend who refuses to update his current system because he's afraid that the new updated version of that system will shut down his games. So it's become a huge issue, but I have a few problems with this Steam OS. Although it's going to be directed towards gamers, I'm not a huge fan of Linux, and it's going to be Linux-based.
And his dislike of Linux is completely irrational.
No, it's completely rational. Linux is terrible.
That is irrational. You don't like Linux because you don't like the maneuvering through the thing.
Because maneuvering through Linux is a nightmare. It's not fun. You have to know exactly what you're doing at all times.
Just use one of the setups where it's like Windows or Mac.
But then you're cheating. You can't cheat. So it's not friendly, okay? I'm not a fan. And the fact that it's built on Linux, now obviously I have not played on this OS. I have no experience with this OS. But if it's anything like Linux, I don't want to be a part of it.
Then again, it's Valve, so...
That's true, it is Valve.
You know what the blind fandom demands. We have to automatically assume it's going to be great.
You kind of do, and... I mean, I trust Valve a lot. I think Valve is the perfect company to make this huge transition. A couple months back, I wrote an article about this on how Valve runs the world. Well, the gaming world. And which is true, they're the best company in gaming. But... I'm a little nervous about this one, but I put my faith in Valve because Valve is that great company, and they have such a good grasp on what PC gaming is, basically saving it through Steam, that I think that they really are the best company to do this.
So let's move on to the Steam Machine. That was their second big announcement, and it's basically a PC in all shape, way, and form, except it's in your living room now.
It's a desktop in the living room. It's really, really awesome, and I keep wanting to call it a console. But for all extensive purposes, this is a PC. Now, a lot of the other consoles, PS4, Xbox One, have really tried to do this, yet they've put a lot of aspects into it that don't let it reach that PC level. But this Steam Machine is going to be really, really awesome and really do a good job at inquiring and putting in that PC aspect. And one big part in doing that is exchangeable parts.
You can, if you wanted to, you can put in different parts if you wanted to make it more powerful. Valve does not care about that. Unlike Sony or Microsoft, that you get in trouble if you open up the box and replace some parts. It probably wouldn't even work anyway.
It's also nice that the starting parts are going to vary. Because you can go out and you can get the $1,000, $2,000 Steam machine that's going to run every game for the next 10 years. Or you could go out, someone like myself who doesn't make a lot of money, I could go out and get the cheaper model, and as I get to the points where I feel comfortable upgrading, I can go out and get that and replace parts with ease. It's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, Valve is being really cool about that. It depends on how big your wallet size is. Like, if you already had a pretty good gaming PC, but you wanted to play games out in your living room, you can pay $100, get a system that will stream it from your PC down to your TV. If you wanted it to be around the same power as the next-gen systems, they have them around that price range also. And it can go all the way up to $1,000, $3,000, and those are the high-end PCs.
All right, now just to get a decent idea on the price range of these suckers, about 300 of these were just of the beta version were just sent to some Steam users. And this version of the Steam machine is actually going to be on sale early next year, and they're going to go for around 500. Now, I'm not sure the exact specs on that, so I don't know how great this one's going to be, but it does put it up there that you can compare it. Oh, it's $100 more than PS4. Well, it's the same price as the Xbox One.
The specs and the models varied. Some were around $1,000, others were around $300. They were trying to test out different models of the thing to see how it would work with certain people.
Yeah, I think that this is really going to be really awesome because obviously one thing when you're considering the consoles is the price. Oh, the Wii U looks great, but maybe it might not do this or that, but it's a bit cheaper. Xbox One looks good with the Kinect and all that, but that's a little pricier than the PS4. Do I want to make that commitment? So, yeah, just going back to the price, it's going to be really nice to sit there and be able to map out what you exactly want to do and what you want to do exactly with the prices.
Just know that if you're on the edge about whether you want to get a PS4, Xbox One, or Steam machine, keep this in mind. You can upgrade your Steam machine if it becomes obsolete in 7 years or so, while the PS4, Xbox One, you have to buy the next system, which is going to be $500 again.
Also keep in mind, PC gets more exclusives than anything else. Yep. I don't care if they're indie. They're still exclusives, and they're awesome.
And that's another thing. The Steam machine is completely backwards compatible. Still plays all the games on Steam. The 3,000 games on Steam right now are playable on the system.
And that's because of Valve's third biggest announcement was their new controller, which I am a huge fan of. If you watched our video last week, you heard me talking about controllers a lot because I love them. So the Steam controller is going to be set up like a traditional controller. You're going to put your hands on, you're going to have some bumpers, you're going to have some buttons. However, the big thing that really allows this controller to connect to PC gaming is instead of 2 joysticks, it's going to be using 2 sensitive pads.
It uses trackpads to get a more precise movement of the environment, and these trackpads aren't just trackpads, they have buttons underneath. They add a lot more inputs than the typical controllers that the Xbox One and PS4 have.
Now, the goal for this controller is to replicate a mouse, because you're not always going to get that precision on console gaming that you're going to get when you do PC gaming. But these trackpads, the goal of it at least, is to manipulate the controller and kind of manipulate the game to allow you to get that mouse precision without having a mouse, without using one. Also, the buttons on it, there's going to have, I believe it's going to have some central buttons right in the middle. It's actually going to have a small touchpad there.
Yeah, that's something that you mentioned about getting more precision in games. The Steam controller works for any games that haven't been programmed to work with the system.
Oh, that's right.
They just function. Steam is calling, Valve is calling it the legacy mode. They were showing it off in a video with them playing Portal 2.
Yeah, I believe I also saw a video in which they showed Civilization. So they showed games that rely heavily on different mouse abilities that you can do with this controller. I believe this controller has also been sent out to some Steam users to test, and that controller will probably be out sometime next year as well. But it's going to integrate very, very well to games that are not used to having a controller. So it's really quite amazing, and I'm really excited because I think this is going to be the biggest selling point for people bringing this PC gaming to their living rooms, to their game rooms. It's because they don't have to sit there on a computer kind of hunched over with the mouse. They finally have kind of something to grab.
Now, the big question is, can Valve do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if anyone can do it, Valve probably can.
If any company can do it, it's absolutely Valve. And I think this is really because, in a sense, Valve's very three-dimensional. in that they do everything. They do the gaming, they can produce games, they do the software. Now, they don't do the hardware, but they work very, very closely with a lot of companies that do. Quick note as well, they're going to have a lot of different companies build parts for the Steam Machine. So you could have your version of the Steam Machine could have parts from other companies, while someone with a similar version can have parts from a different company. So it also allows you to kind of choose kind of what companies you like.
They all come in many different flavors. They probably will all have their
gonna
own
be
unique
cool.
appearances. I saw one that was like a box and it was two halves, and there was a light running in the middle of it along the horizontal axis.
It's really cool because it allows some individuality in a little bit of because in the console world, your console looks the same. Unless you get a skin, unless you get a special version, it's going to look the same. But the Steam, the outside's going to be different based on what you got. And if the outside isn't different, the inside definitely will be. So going back to what you were saying about Valve, can they do it? Absolutely. I love Valve. I put my trust in Valve. I think they've got a lot of really smart people running the show over there, and I think that they can definitely make this transition. And I'm really excited. Obviously, my biggest concern is my wallet size when this comes out, because I'm going to want to buy everything. But I do absolutely believe that Valve can do this.
Of course, the games you do have are already work with it.
Exactly. I have a Humble Bundle has gotten me a lot of games. If you guys haven't checked out Humble Bundle, go do that. It's really awesome. Bunches of games for real cheap.
And most of the proceeds go straight to charity. Actually, I think it's all the proceeds.
A lot. You can split it up. Anyway, they're not our sponsor or anything. It was just a quick note.
They're awesome.
They're great. Anyway, I have huge library, and the funny thing is, I have a very weak PC. So I can't really play most of my library, but with the Steam Machine, I think that a lot of that would open up. Now, before we close out, I am going to give a couple concerns I do have for the Steam Machine, and I think that'll about wrap it up. My first concern is, will my Steam Machine tell me which games I can and cannot play with the hardware on it? Because although Humble Bundle has given me a lot of games, I have also purchased games that my computer, when I was less knowledgeable about PC gaming, I bought some games that I didn't know I couldn't run.
Yeah, games get outdated quickly.
So one concern I have is I'm going to be in the same boat that I am now. I have a machine I really enjoy, something I can do for basic stuff, but I'm not going to be able to branch out and do more. So that's one thing I'm kind of looking at. And then, again, I know I'm replicating what I said earlier, but I have a little bit of concern for the OS. I don't know, because they're going to use the same OS for computers as they are for a console computer. Although I will say it's more computer than console. You're putting it on a TV, so you're not going to type up a document.
Keep in mind, these things are fully customizable. If you want to put Windows 7 on there, you can put Windows 7 on there.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, just not Windows 8.
Never Windows 8. Never Windows 8. Everyone together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Never Windows 8! All right, well, I think that's going to just about wrap it up. Thank you guys for stopping by, listening to us talk.
But we have one more thing. We have a game giveaway.
Oh, that's right, we do. You want to go ahead and explain that?
Yeah, we're giving away a free Crusader Kings 2 Steam code to go along with the whole Steam machine goodness and all. But we're not giving away a Steam machine. Those things aren't out yet. But we're giving away...
I want one. Make it happen, Valve.
But we're giving away Crusader Kings 2, and it's a game that takes place in the medieval Europe, and you pick whatever nation you want to what other nation you want to play, and you build up dynasties. You go to war with other nations.
It's a very fun game. It's really cool. I enjoy it. We play it a lot together. And how do you want to do this? Comment?
If you leave a comment, we'll put and subscribe. We'll put your name into a generator and pick out whichever one pops up.
Absolutely, we can do that, and we will let you know. And heck, we might even bring you up on our next show. So leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe if you liked what you saw. And you guys have a good night now.